In this video we're going to show you how to transform your raw data into this output using Sumifs. Starting super basic, all formulas start with equals, so if we equal sum, open brackets, select the column we want, in this case E and F. If we divide our net sales by quantity sold, we'll get a spend per unit in this raw data set. Moving on now to Sumifs. It's going to allow us to sum if said criteria is meet. So again, starting with equals, Sumifs with a plural, so S on the end, open brackets, we're selecting the column we want to sum as our first criteria, then selecting the criteria we want to bring back, and in this case it's beverage. We've used absolute values here, so as you can see we've locked the J but not the row number. This means when we copy the formula down, we'll move down from J beverages into sandwiches as shown in the formula now. Same with net sales, and where we haven't locked row E, when we drag the formula across, net sales is looking at F, so bringing back quantity sold, and again we can divide net sales by quantity sold to get our spend per unit. So always a good way of presenting your data is simple little graphs. Delete the lines if they don't add any value. Add data labels. You can see in our example the highest spend per unit is a sandwich. But if we look at quantity sold, we sell way less sandwiches than we do beverages. So this one's going to look at multiple criteria. So as you can see, we're going to select our sum range again, which is going to be column E, net sales in this example. Again, we're not going to lock column E because we're going to want to drag it across when we copy the formula into column L for quantities sold. We are going to want to lock our criteria, so first column is D, absolute values on column D, and again we're going to bring back beverages for this top line. So the second criteria we're going to bring back is the temperature. We'll lock column I, but obviously not the row number. So again we'll divide net sales by quantity sold to get our spend per unit. So once you produce something like this, always take a look and say, what is this data telling me? If I was to present this to someone else, what would the key story here be? So add data labels again, hide the lines if it doesn't add any value to your output, make it look neat and tidy, format as you wish. So again, what is it telling us? Cold beverages have highest spend per unit, so that is one of the key takeaways of this simple little chart. Different way of setting up your little table is going to be by having weekdays, for example, from columns K to Q. Again, we're going to use our Sumif formula. Net sales we're interested in here. We've locked it this time because we're not going to be copying it over for quantity sold. First criteria range is going to be column D, select beverage, lock J, and we copy the formula across different days. Keep the row fluid. We're going to select day of the week. We're going to actually lock the top row number because we want it to stay on row 20, which has days of the week, and we drag that formula across. We've done here, and then we're just going to add up each row. This is a good little check to check your sums, but you can actually see that hot beverage is the same as cold beverage. So what that's going to tell us is that we have missed one of the criteria ranges. We haven't brought back temperature in our formula, so we need to add this in now. Select column C, lock it when we drag across the formula. Obviously that cell range will change if we don't lock that. Copy and paste formulas all the way across. Now you can see we've made a different error. Our totals are still the same for hot and cold beverage, 281,000 in both instances. So what happened there, we absolute valued, locked the wrong cell. I had to go back and undo this in the formula. Now you can see, again, what's really clear here is all net sales, the highest proportion is coming through hot beverage. So make sure we're going to sum the range, so make sure we lock that. Again, absolute values, $sign on either end of the range. Copy and paste that formula down. A good check when you're doing percentage of a total, always to add up that total, make sure it sums to 100%. There we go. Great way of showing this data after we format it. It's a pie chart. It's just really clean way of showing us what percentage of our sales are contributed by the different products. So we've looked at the average spend per unit. Cold beverages had the highest spend per unit. But when we look at what proportion of our sales are coming from which product, we get a completely different picture. You see cold beverage is one of the smallest categories, so we're just obviously naming our pie chart, our total sales. The largest category on there is hot beverage, so we add some data labels. 64% of our sales come from hot beverage, only 11% are coming from cold beverage, so you're going to have some seasonality in there. As you can see, as we start cutting up and chopping the raw data in many different ways, you're going to get that commercial view of how the business trades, what's the important products, and you can make key commercial decisions off the back of it. So it's our job as the analyst to present all these things to the business. But that's the power of Sumifs. Super useful, adding up your raw data, cutting it in many different ways. Check out this next video here on why you don't want to be using VLOOKUPs and what you need to use instead.